Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's I, Taylor Field. Yes, I am here. It's been a long time, but a good time. And I am here today to bring you a spoilers in-depth review on Jumanji Next Level. The Next Level. This is the third Jumanji movie in the trilogy. And, yeah, so I'm going to be diving into some spoiler content for it and just my overall thoughts of the movie and give you my final rating at the end of the podcast. But make sure, if you have not been tuned in lately, we just did a watch-along for the Video Game Awards, which literally was just mere hours ago at the time I'm recording this. So check that out. Check out Travis and Dylan. They're covering all of that. We also got Mandalorian episode reviews every week. So we got tomorrow or today, whenever you're listening to this, because it's Friday, and that's when we'll be dropping the next Mandalorian episode review, and I think we're up to episode 6. Gosh, that's going by so fast. And then we're just mere seconds, not really, mere days away from The Rise of Skywalker. Now that is coming out next week, and you're going to be getting a review right away for episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. With everyone on the podcast, we're so excited for what this movie is going to be bringing and what it's going to be packing. And other than that, gosh, I'm just trying to think if we have any other content coming. Clone Wars retrospective. There's just always something. Check out our social media. Go onto Facebook. Go onto Patreon where you can get exclusive content early on. There's just always something in the Geekverse just dropping and popping. So, yeah, let's get into this. So, Jumanji, the next level. When Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle came out in theaters, I was very disappointed in myself that I didn't go right away and see this movie so I could review it. I am a fan of the original. I think Robin Williams was fantastic in it. And this was a movie that I wanted to see, and I never felt any urgency to go see it right away. I don't think any of the geeks saw it opening weekend when it first debuted, but I ended up going to see it probably a couple weekends after, and I think it was around this time, around Christmas time, December. And I was so pleasantly surprised and was laughing, and it was just a nice breath of fresh air, and it was completely unexpected, everything that I was watching, and it was just so exciting and fun and hilarious. I was laughing so much. And I think that the movie ended on a great note, if that was the only one and done, but I guess it made enough money that they warranted a sequel. And here we are, now we're at the sequel, the third in the series. And with this movie, I was confused by the trailers because I wasn't sure how they were going to pick up the story and dive into Jumanji again with these characters. Like, from the trailers, you obviously see the main boy go back into the game, and his friends are obviously going back after him. And I didn't understand why he would go back if things all worked out well, and I was hoping that the story would explain that. And they do a great job explaining so many different things and continuing the story, where this movie felt like a very good part 2 to its part 1, where you could watch both back to back and it'd be like one movie that's a direct sequel to the first Jumanji. And I like that. I think that's awesome. But yeah, so it's overall just the whole time in the theater, I was just laughing, and I was with my girlfriend, and she was laughing, and we were just having a great time, and it was just such a good experience, a good memory. And I definitely recommend taking a significant other to this movie. It's just filled with jokes. The level of acting that the actors deliver with Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillian, I can never pronounce her last name right. They are just all phenomenal. And it just blows my mind that they can jump from personality differences and age differences just like they are and make you believe and feel that they are changing as if it is characters changing their avatars. And it's truly incredible how their acting portrays and relays that to the viewer. And it blows my mind. It's just so fantastic. And it adds to a whole nother level of this movie that you wouldn't expect, that makes you laugh. It just creates so many new possibilities and opportunities and moments that are just unexpected and hilarious. So that is basically my quick non-spoilers review. So 3, 2, 1, Taylor assemble, because I'm by myself. Yeah, this movie basically, spoiler alert, we're going into spoiler territory right now. So we dive literally right into, I think it's about a year after the events of the first, Jumanji 2, Welcome to the Jungle. We have all of our characters kind of doing everything that they want in life. After being trapped in the game for the first time, it really set them on a good path, except the main character. He's kind of really feeling the weight of the real world and his decisions, and it seems like he's just really struggling. And he goes home for the holidays, and I love that this is, I mean, you could probably get away with saying it's not a Christmas movie, but they were playing Christmas music, they had Christmas trees, you know, in the real world of this film. Except obviously in Jumanji, that time was all spent, you know, game time. But I like that, you know, it's Christmas time right now, and I went to the theater and they had, you know, Christmas vibes in the movie. It felt good, it felt cozy. So that was awesome, I enjoyed that and appreciated that. But, yeah, as he goes back home to his hometown and he realizes, you know, just he wants to be fearless like Bravestone was in the game. And so he ends up getting the game that he smashed, and I guess he stored it. He repairs it a little bit and goes back into the game, and his friends plan to meet, and you learn obviously there's some relationship problems between Martha and, what is the gentleman's name? Spencer. And but anyway, Spencer's back in the game, and Martha and Fridge, and I can't remember the girl's name, but they all connect, and they realize, okay, something's off with Spencer, so they go and try to find him, go to his house, and that's where they realize, okay, we have to, unfortunately, go back into the world of Jumanji. And they had the nice surprise of Danny DeVito, and, oh gosh, I always get his first name confused. Danny or Donald Glover? It's Donald Glover. Donald Glover. Or maybe Danny. I'm horrible at his first name because there are 2 Glovers and they're both amazing actors. Needless to say, Mr. Glover and Danny DeVito both are absolutely amazing in this film. Completely catches you off guard in the way that they're in it for a brief bit of time, but their moments are so funny and unique, and that carries right over as if they were literally embodied by Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson. It is absolutely fantastic how they portray the two actors and their characters. It is hilarious. And just major kudos to the actors. I felt like as Dwayne Johnson was probably doing his lines, that Danny DeVito was probably, you know, telling him how to act, or how Danny DeVito would act and do these things. Because Dwayne Johnson, he had that bit of an accent, he had the emotions down, and it was just phenomenal. And their interactions with each other as they were in their avatar bodies was absolutely hilarious. But you learn that, okay, Bethany I think was her name. Yes, and she didn't get put back into the game. Fridge did, Martha did, and then it took the 2 older guys, the grandparents, down into the game as well. And when they all load in, they're trying to figure out who they are. It's just hilarious because they're explaining, like, okay, this is a video game. You're in a video game. He's like, huh? Like, what now? And Nigel, who's basically in the other movie, was reciting the game rules and the objective. It's like, yeah, welcome to Jumanji, Bravestone. Like, Bravenberg? Oh yeah, my doctor is named Bravenberg or whatever, and they just think that they're in either coming out of like surgery or not on drugs, but just so they can't understand. And I feel like when you're talking to people of the older generation about video games, there is a certain disconnect between the two for some reason, trying to explain the game and how what the game is, and there's just no way. It's hard for the older people to connect and figure out what's going on. So in this movie, it really reflects that and shows that and turns it into a funny joke that, you know, I appreciate, because I've tried to explain games to people. I've tried to explain games to like my mom, and you know, she's the kind of person that it doesn't click with her. It wasn't part of her generation. Of course, my dad, he gets it. He understands these things. He plays games. He plays Battlefield, you know. He understands how these things work and they connect. But it's just funny how they took that joke and they capitalized on it. And they had Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson really embody that and reflect on it. And it added so much more depth to their characters. And it was fun to see certain moments where they would embrace their character and build off of that, like when Dwayne Johnson was driving the dune buggy, he started to just really like take off with it, and then he had moments where they were overconfident. You know, the fearless factor set in with Dwayne Johnson's avatar, and he ends up just doing things that he probably shouldn't, like beating up 45 innocent guys in the town, ruining part of their objective, getting the other team members killed, which again felt like, okay, there is a lot on the line this time. I feel like the character lives, you know, they're dying at a much more accelerated rate. And I was worried that, okay, someone's probably not going to come back, which I was hoping that everyone would survive this. And between throwing in very serious, sentimental, emotional moments between certain characters, you learn the story, okay, some people are just miscommunication and there's conflict. And between Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson's, like Danny DeVito, Mr. Glover's characters, there's a disconnect, because you learn, okay, they run a restaurant together and then that stopped, and there was resentment towards each other after their restaurant was sold, and it was cool to see how they build and they worked together and overcame that in the world of Jumanji. But then it was also funny to see how that added to the humor of it as well. The overall tone of the movie, and as it progresses through, it was definitely a longer film than the other one, than Welcome to the Jungle. And, you know, you worry about movies and sequels repeating what the first one does. And yes, this one, it was a repeat to a degree, I'll admit that. They were going back into the game. But the changes that they added, it being a new level, it being the characters switched up this time around, and a whole different scenery with literally throwing in all the characters. So we got, you know, the Jonas back in there, and the new characters as well, like Ming and the horse, which was just hilarious. New villain as well. It just made for a really, really good time, and it felt like a fun, you know, great video game experience, especially when the characters realize, okay, we have upgrades and new abilities, new weaknesses, and the new weaknesses are just hilarious. You know, seeing Kevin Hart freak out about the cake when they're walking into the palace at the end, and this lady's like, "You want cake?" And Kevin Hart's like, "No!" And he smacks it out of her hand and throws the plate of cake away, which is hilarious. Yeah, there's so many moments that was just so well done. And I don't see myself having many cons with this movie overall, because I just was very surprised. I knew I wanted to see it opening night. I knew it was something based on how good the first one was. I had high hopes, so I thought, okay, like, I'm going to hold my breath and hope this is going to be a great time, a good experience, and just a fun movie to, you know, do for a review and see with my girlfriend, and it didn't disappoint. The only con I have is the people behind us were, I don't know why, and it's not that they were little kids. They were definitely probably like 13 years old, and I don't know why 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds have to voice everything. Even as they're watching something, they have to voice and ask out loud, why is this happening, or what is this doing? You know, just wait 5 seconds, and then it answers in the next 5-10 seconds. It's boom. I learned that, you know, when I was really young. I would be asking questions left, right, and center when I was really, really young. And my dad would be like, he wouldn't say anything. And then I realized, oh shit, it just tells you. Just don't talk and watch. it seems like it's a dying trade almost, you know, just people have to be vocal. And not to mention, it was a whole family behind us, which was nice. The grandparents, the grandma was there. And this one kid was like, "Grandma, can you switch seats with me? I don't want to sit beside so-and-so." I thought, okay, that's brothers being brothers. And then they're, mic drop, they're swapping seats. And the grandma is trying to squeeze by, and the other kid is like, "I'm not getting up out of the way for grandma." And I'm thinking, hot damn, kid. Wow! How dare you disrespect your grandmother like that? She, not that I was eavesdropping, they were literally right behind us, but she sounded like a very nice, sincere lady. You know, show your elder a little respect. Especially at the movie theater. You know, those rows are tight and they're cramped, and you have an elderly woman trying to squeeze on by. It's like, geez Louise. There's no respect. So between that and then the one kid like mouthing off throughout the movie, it's like it's hard to find that middle ground. Do you get tickets and reserve your seats in the middle of the theater where you get a great view, but then the chance of people talking? Or do you get seats that are iffy to the sides where you're probably away from the people talking in the middle? There's no common ground. It comes down to people gotta learn to not only turn off their cell phones, but turn themselves off too in the theater. That'd be much appreciated. I'm realizing now, the more and more movies I go to, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Unless you're in a serious Marvel movie like Avengers Infinity War, where these 3 kids were talking, and someone literally told them to shut the F up, that really put them in their place. Now, I'm not someone who's going to throw in curse words, but I am someone to throw down. I'll be like, "Hey, can you be quiet, please?" And then usually they'll be quiet. And if they don't, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to get the manager." And once you drop that manager thing in there, then they zip right up because no one wants to talk to the manager. I used to work at a movie theater. I used to have to kick people out. I've gone really way off topic here. Anyways, Jumanji. So as the film progresses, we get to see more of the abilities taken to play, the linguistics, and we get to see like Nick Jonas's character comes back into the game, and he's played by, I can't remember his name, but they saved him from the original the previous Jumanji movie. So that was very cool to see him and Bethany team up and come back in, and just against all these new enemies and such was just hilarious. But to have the whole team of 5, 6, I think like 7 players was awesome. And it ended on a really nice note how, you know, Mr. Glover's character was obviously going to not survive much longer in the real world, and him deciding to just live as a horse that had the ability to fly in this world of Jumanji and just stay there. And he would live forever. I wonder if the game cartridge were to be destroyed, what would happen in that case? Would he be dead too, or would they just live in this parallel world where it just couldn't be destroyed? I don't know. On top of that, it's just, I was trying to look for any subtle nods towards the original Jumanji, and I know that in Welcome to the Jungle, we obviously get to the cabin in the woods, the jungle area that has the inscribing of Robin Williams' character, and it was an awesome nod to that film and Robin Williams' portrayal of that character. This time around, I think the only thing that I could pinpoint that was very much like the original was just the ending of the film when the heater pump guy goes downstairs with the mom and opens up the game by accident. And it was funny because he's talking like, "Yeah, I'm a gamer. I've never seen a game like this before." And just it ends up unleashing Jumanji, which I thought was a very cool nod towards the original, where you have the whole board game of Jumanji coming out into the real world. And it's not even that I need a third one. I feel like I don't need a sequel to this movie. I feel like this trilogy can be wrapped up in a nice bow, and it's overall a good experience, and it's a good time. It's fun. And I'm okay with them not doing any more. I don't think they should do any more. I think, if they want to keep it safe and keep it just fresh and fun, just keep it to the 3 movies. I think that's a great way to cap it off. But there's so many good moments in this film between the smoldering intensities that Danny DeVito's Dwayne Johnson is doing, which is just absolutely hilarious. And when he brings that into the real world, and Danny DeVito does like the smoldering intensity. I'm gonna try and do it on the YouTube version here if you're watching. That's me trying to do my smoldering intensity. So I just think it's hilarious seeing Danny DeVito do it. Danny DeVito is just so very much my favorite character, I think, in this movie. It was great. And when he ended up changing bodies to be Ming, that was just, again, that actress, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, phenomenal job representing not only Spencer the kid, but then having to transition and play Danny DeVito, this older grandfather-like figure. Just friggin-tastic. I cannot believe that they can deliver on such a scale the realism of changing personalities. It just blows my mind, and it just goes to show how these actors, all of them, were just fantastic and just truly what their skills are capable of. And it does make me sad knowing that this could be Jack Black's last movie if he doesn't do one more before retiring, like he had stated, because he was just absolutely amazing in this movie. And if this were to be his last movie, me as a Jack Black fan, I'd be okay with that. To me, this is ending it on a high note. His portrayal of the characters were just fantastic, and he's always going to hold a special place in my heart as an actor. I love his movie like School of Rock. He was Tenacious D, obviously. Shouts to Dylan Muss. And I mean, even in The Holiday with Cameron Diaz, another great film with Jack Black. He's done so many roles that were just great and hilarious. And Jumanji is definitely something that I really appreciated seeing him get to have the opportunity to be in. I think it was fantastic. But yeah, other than that, just the the excitement that built up while watching this movie, and going along with it. As I said, it was definitely much longer than the first one, but there was never a moment where you feel bored. Throughout all of this, it just was one-upping itself as it kept on going. The jokes were hilarious, and it's just definitely something that I think most couples would definitely enjoy. It proved itself after the first half, I'd say, once everyone got into Jumanji. It's definitely when it kickstarted for me, and I thought, okay, this is just great. This is everything that I wasn't expecting all over again, thrown into the big screen, which was just perfect. It was so fresh to have a sequel that wasn't totally just ripping off what the first, what its predecessor did, but it had similar vibes, but a different aesthetic, different humor, and a different tone, which I really appreciate and really enjoy. And it's funny because the ending, I for the last little bit, I've been getting major deja vu with the ending. Like, I had seen that ending before, and like it was for this specific movie as well. And it's just weird how deja vu just kicks in like that. It just makes you wonder how and why, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, if you're looking for a movie and you've only got enough for one movie ticket for the whole month of December, go see Star Wars. If you have enough money for 2 movies for the month of December, go see Star Wars, and then go see Star Wars again. Just kidding. Go see Star Wars, but then go see Jumanji. I think Jumanji is definitely worth a... I have no regrets paying full price for a ticket. If you want to go for a cheap Tuesday, go for the cheap Tuesday. Go with your friends, go with family. It was just a great time. And make sure you watch the other Jumanjis first. Especially, obviously, Welcome to the Jungle, because that's a direct link to this story and these characters and how they've grown and how they develop. And it builds up on the humor, because if you don't watch that one, you're not going to... I mean, if you don't watch that one, you could get away with watching this. But a lot of the humor and a lot of the reasons behind the character decisions and understanding how things are happening won't make a full amount of sense to you as you're watching it. But yeah, it's just, overall, it's a great time. I would give this movie a solid 8.5 out of 10. I mean, the only reason I'm probably docking it points is... Gosh, I don't even know why I'd be docking it points. I don't feel like it's like a perfect 10 out of 10, but to me, it feels like it's a great movie. It was awesome. It was a great sequel, and I wish I could probably explain why I would not give it a full 10 out of 10, but I feel comfortable giving it an 8.5 out of 10. That seems like a very reasonable and relatable score that I can associate with this movie and my experience and what I had seen on the screen. Yeah, just lots of laughs. Gosh, I think that's all that I have on this movie. I'm gonna try and get all the other geeks to definitely try and go take a watch and give it a go and see what they think, because Dwayne Johnson's just hilarious. His chemistry with Kevin Hart, no matter what he's doing, I've always found it to be very humorous, and I really do appreciate their kind of chemistry that they have together as actors. It's just so well done. But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think. Do we have any other content in the Geekverse coming your way? But I don't think we do. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10. That's definitely I'm going to stick with that for Jumanji the Next Level. So, check it out in theaters. And if you want, post in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the movie. I'd love to know. I love chatting with you guys, getting in the conversation groove. But yeah, other than that, check us out. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Geekverse Podcast, Geekverse Cast on Twitter, Patreon for all your exclusive Geekverse content, early content, everything just drops to the Patreon. You know, if you're on Patreon, you get all this stuff, early access to exclusive content. It doesn't get better than that. And yeah, Pod Bay, if you want to comment on there, we're more than open for checking out those reviews. But yeah, check it out. We got so much stuff for everyone, and we I look forward to seeing and hearing from you guys next time and reporting on the next podcast. So until next time, I am Taylor Field. Have a good one, and we'll see you in the search bar.